Thanks again for tuning in to yet another installment of the Eddie Spivey Show right here on YouTube. And remember to subscribe. Hi and welcome. I am your host, Eddie Spivey. The very controversial subject to be discussed in this particular installment, corrupt ministers. Now, some of you might become just a little sensitized, but bear with me. And remember, I'm the messenger, an information agent. Usually, your common minister or leaders of mega churches that boasts anywhere between 150,000 to well over 2 million members are held in high esteem, a much higher standard. And most ministers are charming, charismatic, very respected, well received, well liked. Many are quite popular. Their actions are almost never, ever questioned. They're trusted, even when they appear corrupt. Unfortunately, we live in a society of corrupt ministers. Many corrupt ministers preside over mega churches. Some of these corrupt ministers are founders of their respective churches. Some corrupt ministers worked their way through the ranks or got high-profile promotions. But most corrupt ministers of these mega churches are appointed by the church's deacons board. I would guess no one becomes the leader of a mega church, of any mega church, because they're so nice. Don't you think that for one moment? Perhaps at the very start of a young minister's career, they actually meant well, but became corrupted by power. Too many corrupt ministers lied and just slithered their way right to the pulpit. Pay attention. There are ministers whom are brazenly preaching without a minister's license. Many corrupt ministers are high-paid TV stars. These are celebrity corrupt ministers. They have their own TV show. A publicist operate a church-owned television production company. Most corrupt ministers of mega churches wield great power and iron-fisted power. They have great control, wield great control over vast empire. Not-for-profit, tax-free corporation that generates hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars, all in cash. Many corrupt ministers are over the top and some of the most vain cocksuckers ever. They're living in vanity. Corrupt ministers are addicted to the finer things that life has to offer. You want me to repeat that? Corrupt ministers are addicted to the finer things in life. They love to pamper themselves. These cocksuckers, corrupt ministers, they're always at the spa, getting peeled and waxed. They have hair plugs and jerry curls. They get perms and toupees. They wear wigs. They wear diamond rings, big-ass gold chains. They love their shiny three-piece suits, all tailor-made, have all their shoes custom-made, drink the finest of everything, and smoke the finest of everything. They're smoking the finest of everything. Corrupt ministers of mega churches are high-ranking professional embezzlers whom not only steals millions of church dollars, are high-ranking professionals, as in grand larcenists. Not only steals, they also misspend and overspend millions upon millions of church dollars, which is money contributed to the church by its members. Keep that in mind. Many corrupt ministers are really just career criminals. Some are celebrities, TV stars, write books, produce TV shows, go on tour. They're trying to sell you something. They're always trying to sell somebody something. These corrupt ministers, they know who they are. You know who you are. If you are indeed a corrupt minister, you know who you are. They're corrupt as hell. They're robbing their own church. They're stealing in plain view. Corrupt ministers associate with many other criminal elements of the world, which would inevitably include other corrupt ministers. And, of course, corrupt ministers love to rub shoulders, not only with other corrupt ministers, like I just told you, but they have this schoolgirl crush for every corrupt politician. Thugs, gangsters, and pimps. Corrupt ministers who drinks and use hardcore drugs might just maintain a cozy relationship with any powerful bootlegger or drug kingpin. Keep in mind, this is a conversation about corrupt ministers, not every minister. Many corrupt ministers are these lavish living TV stars who publish books about prosperity. You want me to repeat that? Many corrupt ministers are these lavish living TV stars who publish books about prosperity, but the only ones whom are prospering, like a motherfucker, are corrupt, cop-sucking, blaspheming ministers with their jerry curls and their gold chains. Pay attention. Most corrupt ministers exceedingly over the top when it comes to their conduct, their behavior. They will, in their most opportunistic way, self-serving way, support candidates for public office in return for favors and bribes and other kickbacks and the like. Corrupt ministers and politicians are like peanut butter and goddamn jelly. Corrupt ministers have the audacity of a bank robber. They constantly compel their church members to hand over millions upon millions of their hard-earned cash that they work very hard for to provide for their families and their own futures. Just so to provide for a very lavish lifestyle at the expense of the church and its members. Corrupt ministers. Living and housing provisions includes several multi-million-dollar mansions and several vacation villas, several church-owned private G6 jets flying all over the goddamn world. The Pope doesn't even have a jet. Whenever he feels like it, he just jumps in his G6, fly all over the goddamn world, do whatever he wants. Pay attention, now follow me. Corrupt ministers also are authorized to maintain a fleet of luxury cars and other very expensive vehicles, which includes several Rolls Royces, several Maybachs, several BMWs, several goddamn yachts, several tour buses, and several helicopters. All for personal use, okayed by the Deacons Board. Corrupt ministers, lavish vacations are also among the perks paid for by the church. Perks paid for by the church. Lavish vacations included. Crooked ministers of megachurches act as basically the CEO of its respective church, similar to some heads of state. Corrupt ministers of megachurches have very broad appointed powers authorized by the megachurch's deacon board. Some corrupt ministers are, in fact, the founders of the very megachurch they steal from. And completely without shame, many corrupt ministers got promotions, earned their way through the ranks, like I previously told you. But perhaps most corrupt ministers came into positions. They came into their positions by way of appointment. The megachurch's deacon boards selects its leader or pastor or senior pastor. The corrupt minister is empowered to appoint a personal staff, church officers, a gang of assistant ministers, staff secretary, office administrators, administrative aides, chief of staff, jet pilots, chauffeurs, bodyguards, chefs, maids, butlers, groundskeepers, you name it. Legal counsels, church and criminal. Corrupt ministers behave more like shady corporate CEOs or your common gangster. They oversee a multi-billion-dollar operation while maintaining an impenetrable inner circle. Tightly knitted inner circle sworn to secrecy. Want me to repeat that shit for you OCD tendency having motherfuckers? Corrupt ministers operate like shady corporate CEOs, and they maintain an impenetrable, tightly knitted inner circle. And mind you, there are oftentimes out of control power struggles within the corrupt minister's tightly knitted inner circle. Pay attention, power corrupts. Like I told you, corrupt ministers are shameless cocksucker motherfuckers. Oftentimes, they will get very down and very, very dirty. A corrupt minister can, and does in fact, choose to live double, triple, quadruple lives on top of the fact that many corrupt ministers routinely cheat on their wives. They also have multiple children out of wedlock. No shame without any shame at all. But it gets worse. Some corrupt ministers get high and have sex with crack whores. They're buying pussy. And they're buying and using hardcore drugs. Some corrupt ministers are these down low cocksuckers. They're fucking little boys. And they love to take full advantage of vulnerable little girls. Just have their way with little girls. Little vulnerable little girls that have nowhere else to go. They have no one else to turn to. So these corrupt ministers are fucking little girls as well. These hypersexual, over-the-top, fuck-minded, like I just told you, corrupt ministers are fucking little boys in the church-owned G6 private jets while 150,000 feet in the sky. Pay attention, shameless corrupt ministers are flying all over the world in a private jet flying 150,000 feet in the sky, having sex with a gang of little boys. Then the corrupt minister fly the little boys back home and then act like nothing happened. And fucking the shit out of little boys, and fucking children, and then they act like nothing happened. Most corrupt ministers live their dirty lives hidden deep, dark closets. But some corrupt ministers will hide in plain view, like I told you previously. And on occasion, corrupt ministers get caught up in a sex scandal. But we know that. Just think about any and every felony, just commit about any and every felony you can think of and end up serving life in the federal penitentiary. Whereupon, you might discover a different kind of love. That's all I'm saying. This is your boy, Eddie Spivey, the host of the Eddie Spivey Show. Do remember to subscribe to my channel right here on YouTube. I want to thank you again for tuning in to the Eddie Spivey Show on YouTube. I am your host, Eddie Spivey. Holler at me, because I'll be hollering at you. Do remember, I am an information agent, the messenger who only wants to deliver the right message to you. Thank you for tuning in again, and I will see you and holler at you real soon.